I am Justin Boyd,
I am Tristan Jones.
and we are the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement, and welcome to Watchers Football, a podcast within a podcast, and a podcast that's all about the pigskin. Today, we are here to discuss Super Bowl 60, our review, recap, whatever you want to call it. We're going to break it down. First off, congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks for winning their second Lombardi trophy as they beat the New England Patriots last night, 29-13. In a game that was, well, Tristan, I'll let you start off. What did you think about this game as a whole?
This was as dominant a win as last year's Super Bowl was. Much to my chagrin. This was like the score. Seattle didn't get up 34-0 on the Patriots, but they might as well have. Like it felt just as suffocating. That's the word that I took from this game the most. Like everything just felt suffocated. Like on both sides. Drake May obviously was either running for his life or he just really had nowhere to go to like escape the pocket. The Patriots couldn't run the ball. They were the Seahawks cornerbacks. The secondary was like really blanketing the Patriots receivers, so like they didn't really have much room to operate. It was a dominant performance because it just felt like on the Patriots side, it felt like there were 13 dudes on the field, just kind of watching from their perspective. Even Sam Darnold, like it took him a while to kind of get off because same thing. It just felt like the Patriots were even when they were in zone, they were like locked into those receivers, and like there just wasn't much space. Hell, Sam Darnold almost threw about 3 picks in the first drive alone. Like he hit some tight window throws, but I remember, and I was watching at my mom's house, and I was like, man, these windows are tight as hell.
Yeah.
She said the same thing. It's like, man, that is almost a pick. That's almost a pick. So
Yeah.
everything just kind of felt like compressed and cramped. And that was the game that Seattle wanted to play. Like they wanted to take away every big play opportunity that New England had, and they did that. I would say 95% of the game was them taking away explosives. They took away the run game, and if the Patriots aren't going to be able to run the ball or hit explosives, they were dead in the water. And that's what that game ultimately turned out to be. Man, it was just suffocating. Like it just felt like nobody had room to operate. Right. And that seemed to be the Seahawks game plan, and they executed it as perfectly as they possibly could. But there wasn't really much to the game outside of that. Like once Seattle realized, hey man, we don't have to go for it on 4th and 2. We don't have to go for it on 4th and 3. If we keep kicking these field goals, they can't score against us.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that can get them back into the game is a pick six, a Sam Darnold pick six. And if he wasn't doing that, he wouldn't turn the ball over, fumble sacks, strip sacks, or just, risky throws outside of the first drive. Like there was no path to, New England winning that game. So it was just a suffocating, dominating performance. They might as well have been up 5 scores, because it felt like, I don't know if you remember this, but like the Spurs in the early 2000s, they would be up 9, and it felt like they were up 25. We're struggling to score once. So like to score, get a stop, like it just felt like it was too much, and that was the game.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit before we got started tonight on the pod, but I mean, when Seattle was up 9-0, that was a commanding 9-0. I mean, it felt like that was probably going to be enough to win the game. But, like you said, the game was so defensive on both sides, but obviously more so for Seattle. Drake May was under siege. He was sacked 6 times. He had 2 picks. One was a pick 6, and then he had a fumble, lost a fumble. So they were on him the whole game. But then really, like you said, the defense, was really good on both sides. And the difference maker was Kenneth Walker III. 135 yards on 29 or 27 carries, and he was the game MVP. He was the first running back to win the award since Terrell Davis back in 1998 Super Bowl 32. Like that is crazy. We finally have a running back that took charge, but I mean, rightfully so. I mean, I guess you could have given it to the defense, but Walker the third, I mean, he was just so patient with his runs, and then he had the ability, once he got a little bit of space, he's a home run hitter, like, he can take it. I mean, he didn't score a touchdown, but he had some big runs that just kind of got Seattle into field goal range and maintained them in field goal range for much of the first 3 quarters, and that proved to be the difference on the offensive side.
Yeah, and honestly, he could have had more. Like they could have went, Shanahan in 22 and just said, "Hey, we're just not going to pass it all." Like there was no reason for Seattle to throw the ball. Outside of a little bit here and there to keep the Pat's defense honest, but
Yeah,
uh, Kenneth Walker III was most of his runs were like coming like he was getting hit in the backfield. Like they just
right.
couldn't get him down. Like and he was bouncing out to the edge. He was, hitting holes. He did everything really except catch the ball. Uh, apparently,
Yeah,
according to Chris Collinsworth, that's just not something he's good at. But I honestly thought he was a rightful MVP.
mhm,
If I had a secondary choice, I probably would have gone rogue and went with like Witherspoon,
yeah,
Devon Witherspoon, who was just a menace in the backfield all game, like just timely blitzes off the edge, off the A gap. Like he was just a menace. Like he was always in Drake May's either on his back or he was on his lap, right? Which again kind of exposed another like flaw in Drake May this postseason. Like just
yeah,
it's just so many things. Like obviously he had an MVP level type year, but like he's a second year quarterback, and it's just those struggles are gonna come back. Eventually, like just being able to see the whole field, being able to like recognize blitzes. Like the Seahawks sped him up and sped that Pats offense up so much that it allowed for those type of mistakes. And Devon Witherspoon was like a menace. Like he caused that last pick six.
yeah,
He even the times he didn't all the way get there, he created opportunities for other guys to get there. So I would have gone Kenneth Walker, Devon Witherspoon, and then Sam Darnold either third or fourth. For
yeah,
Sam Darnold, I think the game plan was like, hey, let our defense dominate, which they obviously did. No turnovers. And what I thought Sam Darnold did really, really well, which is going to go understated because it won't show up statistically, but like he was able to like evade pressure in the
yeah,
pocket and like just kind of keep those plays going and get positive yards. And again, all you had to do was kind of take the air out of the ball. Like you didn't really have to take too many chances. He took some deep shots, against Christian Gonzalez,
yeah,
which Christian Gonzalez was absolutely not here for. But you kind of need those shots here and there to kind of keep the
yeah,
defense honest. But as long as he didn't put the ball, Christian Gonzalez, he had a chance at least two of those. One of them he got two hands on.
yeah,
Another one he stretched out for. But outside of that, man, Sam Darnold did a great job of just keeping, making positive plays. Obviously, he had the touchdown. Great design by Clint Kubiak.
mhm,
Me and my mom were just calling him Javante the whole time. Javante Barner, AJ Barner, the Jason White Javante. But like he just did what he needed to do as a quarterback. And we
yeah,
talked about it on this podcast a lot, man. That was not a Sam Darnold game. And
yeah,
you saw that from the first drive, like the way they were kind of locking in on those receivers. The Patriots blitzed on 70% of the Seahawks dropbacks in the first quarter. Like they let you know off top, this will not be a Sam Darnold game. You won't do to us what you did to the Rams. And I mean, he obliged, outside of like I said, trying to hit those tight window throws on that first drive. He settled down, got the ball where it needed to go, didn't take too many risks. They ran the ball to keep New England off balance, and honestly, man, that was enough. And
yeah.
Super Bowls, as we've seen, is about, man, just you do enough to win the game and worry about style points later.
Yeah, I think you did a good job highlighting the defensive players and Darnold and the offense. Not that the special teams really get much shine unless it's like a big kick return or whatever in Super Bowl history, but if you look at this game, if you're looking for another MVP, their kicking game, Jason Myers, 5 field goals, that's Super Bowl record. Also, Michael Dixon with his punts. did he pin them 3 times within the 5? At least twice I know
At
of, but, like
least at least twice. One of
yeah,
them literally rolled until the 1-yard line.
right,
The bounce, I want to say, like the 12, and just
right,
perfectly landed at the 2, and then they got it to the 1.
yeah,
He had one coffin corner that was like at the 5, I want to say. And
right,
I'm probably missing one, but he was
yeah.
excellent. Special teams was excellent.
I mean, that was such a weapon given how good their defense was, and given I mean, New England, I think they had 1 first down in the first half, I think, like, it might have been on their opening drive, and that was it. I mean, it was just that kinda game for them. I think even, like, going into the 4th quarter, I think they'd only passed their I think they the furthest they'd been on the field was the Seahawks 43. I remember Mike Tirico mentioning that, and I was like, "Man, this is a total domination." And I
And
mean, even
even
s
then,
yeah,
I think they punted on like 4th and 3,
yeah,
4th and 4, something like that. Like, just you could tell from Vrabel that he lost complete confidence in
yeah,
it, in Drake May, and he lost confidence in an offense overall.
yeah,
Sometimes you're like, hey, this is going to be a field position game. We don't want to give up even hell 20 yards of substandard, field position for them. That was just too much because, again, we talk about points being at a premium in a lot of these games, like these defensive games, but last night was an example of yards being at a premium. I've watched the Patriots all year, like everybody else,
yeah,
and there's never been a game, regardless of who they were playing, where I had zero confidence that they could pick up 2 yards. And last night, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and I'm just like, man, there's no reason to believe that they're going to pick up these 2 yards.
yeah,
Like, it was complete domination, man. They once Seattle established that they could just completely destroy the left side of that offensive line, like it made everything that New England wanted to do so predictable.
yeah,
And it made everything about 20% harder. And it was already tough. This was already the number one defense. This is a big defense, a big secondary, big D line, fast linebackers. There was no area on the field that New England could attack confidently, and you could see that in the decisions that Vrabel made
yeah,
on countless third and nines. Running the ball because, like, you don't want to take any type of risk. There was at least 2 fourth downs that they passed on under 4th and 5 that they definitely could have, went for, especially when they got down 9-0, 12-0. It's like, man, this is slipping away. Like, you don't have
yeah,
number one, you don't have all game. You don't have enough time to keep punting and passing up those opportunities. And there's no telling when you would even get close to like a 4th and 5. It might be 4th and 10 next time. So
yeah.
when you're getting dominated like that, it affects the decision making.
Yeah, you talk about the decision making, we've been talking about this all season long about how this year it seems like every coach is going for it on 4th down no matter where they are on the field. I mean, if it's 4th and short, if it's 4th and 3 or under, every coach is going for it, and then you see this game where, like you said, did anyone go for it on 4th down? I mean, until, like,
No,
maybe desperation time at the end of the game. I mean, it was like I don't think we saw that because it was just an old school kinda game where the Seattle defense and just their overall talent was just too much for New England. I mean, like, New England, incredible story, back-to-back 4-win seasons, come out of nowhere. I mean, they were clearly the underdog in this game, but, if you look kinda that's why for me, like, going to this game, we talked about this a few weeks ago, we did our preview, like, this game just didn't have a lot of juice for me. Like, I didn't and I honestly, I felt kind of vindicated because it's like, yeah, the jersey said the Patriots on their chest or whatever, but, like, it wasn't the Tom Brady Patriots. It was this new team that, like, was a good story, but it's like I feel like they got there ahead of schedule. Like, they're 2 or 3 years maybe ahead of, like, what they should have been, which, hey, we talk about this all the time. Windows in sports close so fast. You think the window's wide open, and your window can be closed before you even know it. So, like, if you have a chance to get there, you gotta do it, and, no one's gonna they made it, so congratulations to them, but I do feel like on paper, they just didn't seem like they weren't the Patriots. They were just this team that had a great season, found their way in the Super Bowl. Whereas Seattle's in like the best division in football. And last year they missed the playoffs. They won 10 games and missed the playoffs. Like it's a pretty good year. So like them coming out this year and being the best team in the NFC was not a surprise. I mean, Darnold, obviously what he did going from Minnesota to Seattle and having another great year, that obviously, maybe was the catalyst to them becoming a Super Bowl team in addition to the defense and just overall talent. But to me, it was just a matchup that didn't have a lot to it. Like it was just kind of like it's like, like it's also, we saw these two teams play like 11 years ago, granted very vastly different teams, but just, I don't know, there just wasn't much for me in this game. And I mean, it turned out to be, like you said, I think it was an interesting game, but it was more on the boring side. I think it was one of the, like, as far as entertainment wise, it wasn't one of the more entertaining Super Bowls that I can remember.
Yeah, it, like, even last year, that was a pretty much, uncompetitive game.
Yeah.
But there was star power.
Right.
There was, storylines that went beyond
going for history.
Like like your regular, like redemption, Sam Darnold redemption, or even the Patriots, like, yeah, it's a cute story, but it wasn't really a believable one. Like we had all the reason in the world to doubt how good they really were, despite the record, because of the schedule. We talked about the schedule ad nauseum on this podcast, but like you go into like the playoffs and you get 3 lackluster at best offensive games from Drake May and their offense. So like, by the time we get here and we see what Seattle, how they looked against the Rams, how Sam Darnold looked, and it's like, hey man, your one chance to like making this game like competitive is Sam Darnold turning into a pumpkin. And if that's not going to happen, then honestly, you'd have to tell me like, where's the weak spot, right? Because Seattle's going to run the ball. Even if they don't run it at 7 yards a pop, those 4 yards matter. Because Sam Darnold could use his legs to pick up a first down. Like quick game, like there's so many different ways for Seattle to attack New England, and you can't say the same on the other side. Ultimately, this is a game devoid of excitement because obviously there's a mismatch in talent. Patriots are a young team, young offense, young offensive line, young receivers outside of Diggs, young tight ends, like young defense for the most part. And Seattle is just a bunch of, there's obviously some young talent there, but it's a bunch of grizzled dudes, like DeMarcus Lawrence, Byron Jones, like this. There's guys who have been around and who understand, and they just simply, they don't make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. They do a great job of beating you, but they don't beat themselves. So we'll look back at this, and I know it didn't look like that because, again, we're looking at 2 14-3 teams, but this was a mismatch. This is one of the biggest mismatches that we've had, probably since, Denver, Carolina, I want to say. Again, I don't know if we're not going to look at the Seattle defense like, the 2000 Ravens or the 02 Bucks, but statistically, relative to the rest of the league, man, they were about as dominant as we've seen in over a decade.
Yeah, and maybe not even like the Legion of Boom. Like they had such a great like nickname. This team's nickname is the Dark Side Defense, which not bad, but I don't know if it's going to have the same. That Legion of Boom had a lot of personalities too. Obviously, Richard Sherman was kind of like the mouthpiece for that defense, and he obviously has gone on to a media career. But yeah, you're right. I feel like with Seattle, if they had a more well-known and more like venerable coach, and say if Sam Darnold was doing this for a couple of years before the season, it would have been even more of a mismatch on paper, to the general public. Because I think to a lot of people, this game, it seemed like it was a coin toss. And even I thought it was going to be kind of close, but I thought it was going to be a defensive battle, but I thought Seattle was the better team. And that's what panned out. But you're right. It really wasn't a close game. It was like you talk about Drake May, he did not play well this postseason. But like the game against the Texans defense, they got after him, almost as much as Seattle did. The difference is Drake May made 3 or 4 incredible throws that he didn't make in this game. He made he made one deep throw to Mac Hollins on the touchdown pass. But outside of that, I mean, he didn't do anything. I mean, and also I think Drake May, he's very fortunate because this postseason, he's had so many chances to get his arm caught up and injured in a sacking situation. I mean,
Man.
he has a pretty good windup. Obviously, he's got a very strong arm, but he's I mean, I'm thankful. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but there's been a lot of chances where he could have had a shoulder injury or a throwing arm injury very, very easily. So glad that didn't happen. But yeah, he's gonna have to definitely work on like his pocket awareness and just like ball protection. Like that's almost kind of like the CJ Stroud thing. You just can't turn the ball over that many times and hope your team's gonna find a way to win.
So much of his season though has been like he's played above his age, at least in the regular season, to where like he wasn't as boom or bust. Was like, hey, we don't get the deep pass, then what do we have? Like he's worked all parts of the field. His issue in this game again is Seattle's able, like same thing what happened with Mahomes last year. Seattle's able to rush forward. They're to play two safeties back so they could take away deep stuff and stop the run. There really was nowhere for him to go. He was going to have to be special in a way that he simply wasn't prepared to be. Like he was going to have to use his legs a lot more, which again, coming in with the shoulder injury that he's had the last couple of weeks was going to be difficult. Something he's probably going to be hesitant against. He was going to have to hit a bunch of tight window throws. He was going to have to like get the ball out fast. Like so many things that go against how the Patriots have been successful throughout the regular season, that if the Seahawks forced him to play a game he just hasn't played in 2025. Maybe he'll be ready for those things next year. Maybe the O-line will mature a lot more. But right as of last night, like there was not enough resources, not enough experience, not enough reps to like handle a defense that was playing at an all-time level, honestly. And that was the game. Like again, if they couldn't adjust, if the Patriots offense didn't have a second gear, because the defense was good.
Yeah,
the defense did its job, as best as it could. But that defense was playing with one arm behind his back because offensively, like there just was nowhere to go. Like everywhere you look, Hunter Henry didn't really hear his name. Mac Hollins, like you said, he got the touchdown, like off the two, really good throws that we saw from Drake May. Like even the pass before the touchdown that he hit, I want to say either Henry or Mac, somebody over the middle. Like it looked like a desperation throw. He's like, hey man, I have to get this throw off because something just has to happen. And that was about as good as they could do, man. Even the touchdown was contested. Everything was contested. Like every throw was contested. Every handoff. Seahawks didn't miss many tackles. They didn't have to blitz, but even when they did blitz, they pretty much got home. It was just a total domination at every point.
Yeah, it was. While the Patriots don't have probably the best weapons, the Seattle does. Seattle has the best receiver in the league, and he was pretty limited. Now he did suffer an injury in the second half. He actually came back and finished the game, but Jackson Smith-Njigba didn't do much. He didn't really have to because of Seattle's ability to run the ball. And Cooper Kupp had a couple catches. Barner was pretty big in the pass game, but for Smith-Njigba to not have much of a game and for Seattle to dominate just kind of shows like this team might be a team we're going to be talking about for a couple of years.
Yeah, I was watching. First things first, they had a great topic about like how do you determine what's the blueprint to win a Super Bowl, right? Like if you had the choice between franchise quarterback, somebody who you feel like can get you there every year, as opposed to like this balanced, team where you have a good quarterback, but you don't necessarily have a franchise quarterback. And both of them are really hard to replicate. Like it's hard to build this, super team. Like all we've seen over the last 10 some odd years, if you won the Super Bowl, that means you either had Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, or you had like this super balanced, super talented, almost super team where you have all this talent um, all around the field, both sides of the ball. Like both of those things are hard to like come across. But like if you have a team that has a good mix of like young and old guys at prime positions, and you have a quarterback who can just simply, blend in his game to what's needed. Like we look at the playoff run, right? San Francisco, Sam Darnold didn't really have to do much, right? Yeah. In the conference championship game, they needed a A+ game from Sam Darnold, and he delivered, right? In the Super Bowl, you just needed Sam Darnold to like play within the system, not mess up, make plays here and there, and just continuously, hit positive plays. And that's what they did. Like that's a luxury. Again, that Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar, like they come into every one of these games saying, "Hey, I need to play above whatever my team is at." Yeah. If my team is playing at an A level, that means I probably have to hit an A+ level, depending on who we're playing. So they have a chance to be around. I look at everything in like a 2 to 3 year window.
Yeah.
They have a chance to be in the mix. And honestly, at this point, with how much parity there is and how many, just weird years we have where like the people we expect to be there at the end or not, like sometimes you just want to be in the mix, like it's, what is our floor? Is our floor the divisional round? Or is our floor, a wild card round, which isn't that great? Or are we in the mix to be like in the conference championship mix every single year? Yeah. If that's the case, man, like the defense is good enough, man. The defense, I feel like, is sustainable, or at least over the next couple of years. And it's just, hey, can Sam Darnold continue to grow as a quarterback? Yeah. Again, he's only 29.
Right.
Like if he can continue to do that, or at least keep at the level that he's at and just maintain that and like raise his floor a little bit, they absolutely can be in the mix next year, the year after.
Yeah, I mean, their toughest thing might be their division. I mean, with the Rams and the 49ers who don't appear. I mean, the 49ers, granted, they have so many injuries that, you never know. They could definitely have a 4-win season out of nowhere if they have a ton of injuries like they are prone to do. But looking at the landscape of the NFC, for the Seahawks, the toughest challenge might be just facing the Rams and the Niners, twice a year and trying to get through that gauntlet to, maybe make it to the Super Bowl. Is there anything else about this game that you want to touch on? We'll talk about the halftime show in a second, but as far as like the game itself, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to get to?
Man, that game was over at like 10 minutes left in the third quarter, man. I think we've touched on everything.
I think so. No, I mean, it was a game where, like I said, 9-0. I felt like it was over when it's 12. I thought certainly it's over. And I think you talked about this before we started talking on the podcast, but yeah, had Seattle kicked the field goal and made it 15, it was assuredly over. Yeah. And then the fact they got a touchdown, you're just like, oh, it's 19-0, which, with NFL nowadays, like, oh, you still had an entire fourth quarter basically left in the game. A lot of time, you could go for 2 here and there, and who knows what can happen, but that was just insurmountable, it seemed like, and it turned out it was. So, again, congrats to Seahawks. Kind of putting a bow on a season as a whole. How do you look back at this 2025 NFL season? Like, do you think it was like, because obviously we didn't have some of the traditional powers, like we didn't have the Ravens in the playoffs. We didn't obviously have the Chiefs, given what happened with injuries and all kinds of stuff. Do you think this was maybe like, a changing of the guard? Was this just kind of like an off year? Was it maybe we're in a transitional phase where maybe we're going to cycle some of the teams that have been in the running out for a little while? We're going to cycle some teams back in. We saw the Bears rise with Caleb Williams and a new coach. How would you like summarize this season, or what would you call this season as far as the 2025 campaign?
2 things stand out to me. One is what we talked about, honestly, at the beginning of the year in preseason, which is that defense defenses have caught up to offenses. Like we're just at this point where
Absolutely.
you need ball control. You need a really good defense. You need a good running game. Like we are post. Hey, just give me a great quarterback and let everything kind of fall into place. Our quarterback will carry us. Quarterbacks can't carry you alone. They can carry you in certain games. They can carry you for stretches in a game, but they cannot carry you past, a surplus of flaws. Like if you don't have a running game, you are kind of starting the game with like 8 fingers. You know what I'm saying? Like you need a run game. You need big receivers who can win one-on-one. Like everything is so compressed. It's kind of like the NBA where like there's so much switching that you have to be good at one-on-one. You have to be good at ISO. You have to be able to make shots in different varieties. If you don't have that, you can't be a specialist anymore. Like you can't just say, hey, I run bubble routes. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we're gonna take that away. And then what do you have? The second thing is I think we're past the point of there's no consistency in what each of these seasons is going to look like. Like we see in the NBA, like there's a different champion every year. Like it's about obviously one, what does the structure of your team look like? Do you have all the necessary components like we just mentioned, run game, defense, smart coaching, quarterbacks who can be Superman one week and then be game manager another week. And like it almost looked the same. It's like, hey, what is needed? This is what I need to do. We need 300 yards for me today. I got 300 yards for you. Hey, we only need 215 and no turnovers. I got that for you. Like you're going to have, our quarterbacks are going to have to be smart. We saw one of the most talented quarterbacks the league has ever seen essentially lose a game that he shouldn't have because, and by this I'm talking about Josh Allen, because he didn't know when to turn the Superman off. And again, if the blueprint on that note is Mahomes is like, hey, what do you need? 185, beautiful, like in some rush yards. We're past the point. Like I can't predict to you what next year is going to look like. Like obviously Mahomes is going to be out a good portion of the year. So the Chiefs are working on a deficit. We'll see if they can keep pace until he gets back. I don't know, man. Buffalo might take a step back. They might be juggernauts. San Francisco might look like the Rams look this year. So like it's just about like what's the situation? Are we getting enough breaks? Are we able to keep guys healthy? What's your schedule look like? There's more variables into like who's going to be good at the end. I've been out of the prediction game so much. Like I make my predictions, but also, I'll acknowledge, man, we don't know what the hell we're talking about. Like,
of course not.
ACL start popping, guys who we thought Geno Smith was going to be good, this year, and it turns out if you don't have an offensive line in front of you, like there's no chance that you're going to be good in today's league. So we're post, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? We'll post definitive predictions. This could be a down year. This could also be the standard going forward. So there's just way more factors going into like who's good, who's going to be there at the end, that we just kind of have to look at this on a week-to-week basis. And like we have to dive deeper and like, hey man, what division are you playing this year? Like the Patriots this year got lucky to play the NFC South. Guess what? Next year, NFC North. They played the AFC South. Next year, AFC West. Next year they're going on the road to play Seattle, Kansas City, like Buffalo, like all these, like New England can be a 8-win team next year. We don't know. So, man, I don't know. I say all this to say I don't know. But this year taught me that I don't know. And it also taught me that everything, it's a cyclical nature. Like we went through this period of like, give me great defense and give me a good enough quarterback. Then it switched back to give me superstar quarterback, and then let's kind of build out from there. And we're in a new cycle, man. And we're kind of returning back to like the 90s, to where there's just way more things that you need. So
Yeah, I think that's well said. It to me, it feels like there's more teams are in the mix, but it's like you have to have the right mixture of players and variables. Like you said, the schedule's so important. Like the draft is so important. I mean, think of like with Seattle, like you look at that team, they don't have a whole lot of household names, but they have a lot of really good players that they drafted in the past 2 or 3 drafts. And like the importance of the draft, and it's not just about the first round, not just about the quarterback. It's not just about like the flashy guy that played at Ohio State or whatever. There's so many key players that you can find in those middle rounds that are like guys that are going to be making plays, sacking the quarterback in the Super Bowl that like you need to find those guys. And so I think it's like for the NFL, it's like it just to me, it's like it's more competitive than maybe it's ever felt like it. It doesn't like we might have an era where it's just like an open era where it's like anybody like, like a dynasty in this era might be like you if you have 2 or 3 good seasons. Like, if you can get to the playoffs 2 or 3 years in a row, that might be what a dynasty is or something. Like, if you get a Super Bowl and, like, 2 championship game appearances or something, that might be considered a dynasty because it seems like the league as a whole is getting better. I mean, I say that, and there's still teams like the Jets, obviously, that are still gonna,
Yeah.
not get a turnover, not have an interception all season long somehow and are gonna win 3 or 4 games. But there's way more teams that are kind of in that middle range where like it's like, if I ask you to predict the Super Bowl next year, I mean, you could literally say almost anybody, and like no one right now could laugh because if I told you last year the Patriots were going to be in the Super Bowl, you'd be like, I mean, come on, man. Like they're not, I mean, they might be in the Super Bowl in 5 years. They're not going to be in the Super Bowl in 5 months, and they were. And even Seattle, like I don't know that Seattle was like a slam dunk preseason favorite to make the Super Bowl. I mean, they were a a decent chance to get to the playoffs given their what they played like in 2024. But um, it's crazy, and it's a league that seemingly gets younger. Like all the head coaches now are. I mean, I think I'm older than every head coach, not every head coach in the league, but a lot of the head coaches in the league. Like, and when I was a kid, like I'm 45 years old. Like when I was a kid, like if you were 45 and a head coach, you were like a young guy. And
Right.
now it's like you're like you're one of the older guys. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, you should have been a head coach when you were like 31 or something, or 35, or it's just it's so crazy. I mean, like look at like Clint Kubiak, who's now the coach of he's the Seahawks offensive coordinator. He's going to take the Raiders job. I mean, is he 30?
think
I don't
he's
know if he's 30.
32,
30,
31 or
yeah.
32,
I
man.
mean,
At the oldest, honestly.
yeah. I mean, it's just crazy the way the league is, and the NFL like the NFL is the big winner in all this because they can literally put out any kind of matchup and people are going to watch and people are going to love it. So, it seems like I'm not saying a whole lot, but I think it's a very competitive sport and it's not going to get, I mean, it's just going to get more competitive, it seems like. And, I enjoyed the season, even though I don't know that it was the greatest season I've ever watched, but like, I think you're right. It was a season where defense definitely reigned over the offense. I mean, especially the playoffs. I mean, we talked about this so much in the podcast where it's like, can you get to 17? Can you get to 20 points? Like you look at Seattle, they held their teams like under 17 points or 17.4 points a game for the season. Like that's incredible. I mean, given, you know, how we're in this era of these passing attacks and everybody has like, has 70% completion percentage and receivers have over 100 yards and it's not a big deal, but like we're swinging the other way, like you said, where it's more of like a running game and it's a defensive game, and I guess it's all a cycle, and we're just now in a different cycle in football.
I mean, look at the statistics of the guys who won. Like, obviously,
Yeah,
Stafford had the touchdowns, but it's just not a lot of guys throwing for 4,500 yards.
right. Yeah,
5,000. Like, when's the next time we'll see a guy throw for 5,000 yards? Like, it's gonna be a while. So
yeah,
yeah, like I think there's going to be more emphasis on stuff like completion percentage, but a lot of that is just like, hey, you're just taking what the defense is giving you. It's not like you're throwing
yeah,
10 yards a pop every play every time you drop back. It's just like, hey man, sometimes let's just get a positive play. All right. So like smart football is coming back, and not just wild, reckless, man, I have a strong arm and let's just let this thing rip. Like
right.
that's just not the path to success anymore.
Yeah, it seems like it's more and more a team game and less like hero ball. Not that it's, I mean, it's always been a team game, of course, but like you're right. It's it's more complimentary football, I guess, across the board than ever before. Um, to kind of wrap up the Super Bowl, obviously the halftime show was a big deal with Bad Bunny performing. What are your thoughts on the performance? Obviously the political landscape of everything. I mean, it feels like there was more pressure on Bad Bunny than there was on either quarterback last night. What do you think about that, given the landscape of our country and the world?
I thought one, I thought that the backlash to Bad Bunny performing kind of just shows like the performative nature of criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, people complaining about these revolutionary messages or political messages. Nobody knows what the hell he was saying. You know, like we simply don't know.
No.
Like if you're gonna make that complaint, Green Day is right there.
Right. Right.
Like calling them, conservatives idiots as they have for the past 25 years.
Yeah.
So all in all, I thought the performance was great.
Yeah.
I loved the way they kind of transformed the field into like a version of like these different versions of Puerto Rico. The him climbing up the light pole to kind of signify like the grid, Puerto Rico after the different natural disasters that they've had and the lack of resources and aid from the United States. I loved it. Like this is kind of what the Super Bowl is becoming. It's kind of like a platform for like these deeper. I don't even like. I don't like simplifying into like political. Like a lot of this stuff is like civil rights stuff. Is like morality, moral things. It's just like shining like this macro light on the different inequalities or the way that people see non-white people in this country. There's so many different avenues that are being covered, but yeah, man, like I love it. I love like the messages that are being portrayed. For me, this kind of places a cap on who can actually perform at the Super Bowl. The names we see kind of thrown around, it's like, man, if you don't have the depth in your artistry to like tackle these messages, like, are you, worthy of this platform? I saw people throw around like Chris Brown. Like Chris Brown has not had an articulate thought in his life. You know what I mean? Like this is not going to translate to the Super Bowl stage. So I love it, man. It's a raising of the bar. We've seen it like Kendrick and SZA last year. That was a raise, regardless of what you felt about the performance or the song choice. Like this is a raising the bar of what to expect. Like before, it was just like, hey man, old dudes, male, female artists play the hits.
Yep. Aerosmith or Bruce Springsteen or whatever. Yeah.
Come on, man, walk this way. Like this is it's the same stuff that we've gotten. We got for so long that it became status quo. And I do love the kind of the breaking up of the status quo. But like again, the conservative criticism and conservative backlash, one was predictable. They have been kind of forecasting how they were going to attack, Bad Bunny, attack the NFL, attack Jay-Z, attack, the entire operation. I'm like, all those people watch, it's so performative. It's stupid. It's like all of those people watch the show because there's nothing more American. There's very few things that are more American than the Super Bowl and then the halftime show, whereas once the halftime show was kind of like the time for you to get up and do whatever. Now it's like, no, this is appointment viewing. So like either you're going to watch and enjoy it or you're going to watch because you need to have an opinion on it. Right. And so much of the people, so much of the performative actors who are doing the lion's share of the backlash, like we know what the play is. We know how they're going to attack these things because they need content. Right. And Kid Rock is not content. Nobody cares about Kid Rock. We barely cared about Kid Rock in 2000. Like he was fading then. So like they need to watch because they need to have this content. So I enjoy Bad Bunny. I'm not the biggest Bad Bunny fan. Like I have fun to the music, but like I do appreciate, his unabashedly like dedication and loyalty to Puerto Rico, and like, shining the light on all these things. I loved him giving a Grammy to the kid who was arrested by ICE, little
Yeah.
5-year-old kid. Like, that's just great things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
this is what we want our biggest artists to like do, is like not just give us great songs, but also give us like great art and great performance and all these things for something larger than themselves. So big fan of Big Bad Bunny. As a Kendrick Lamar super fan, I'm even happy that he broke the record for viewership. Like, keep that thing going. Like, if people are mad, like, normally that's for a good reason. So
Yeah.
I was all for it.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like, I remember as a kid, the biggest like, the first time that I really remember the halftime show was Michael Jackson back
Yeah.
in, like, the one I think it was in LA. It was it was one of the Cowboys-Bills Super Bowls. I think it was the first one. And you're right, I mean, it's always a big deal who plays halftime, but now, like, I mean, obviously, I don't think the halftime show will ever be bigger than the game because, like, the game is the reason why everyone's there, the reason why there is a halftime, but I mean, honestly, like, I felt like for a lot of people, the halftime show is more important than the game. And like you said, like, it's ratcheted up to this level to where, who can perform next year? Like, who, does it have to be Taylor Swift? Does it have to be like the biggest, highest selling person in the world? Like, how do you top this? Like, is it, does it become like five or six people, they kind of team up in Avengers style, do it or something, or like, because like you kind of reach a point where like you can't top that. Like, what do you do? Because like the production value and just, I mean, I don't know a ton about Bad Bunny. Like, I know who he is. I've seen him on SNL a few times, and he's been in wrestling. I've seen him do some highlights in that. But as far as like what he's saying, I have no clue. Like, it's obviously it's very entertaining, very cinematic what they're doing. I mean, there's a lot of like production value, obviously, with the halftime show. But you raise a good question, like who can do it next? Like, what's the next step in this like performative like showcase that didn't used to be, even though it was always a Super Bowl, it never was this big and this is as important as it is right now. It seemingly is.
Even with like our biggest, even like you said, Michael Jackson, like,
Right.
we talk about Michael Jackson's performance independent of the actual game.
Right. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Cowboys Bills because that's its own event.
Right. Right.
It's its own historical event, and Michael Jackson is like a sideshow to that. Like, we don't talk about those two things in conjunction. Whitney Houston, like, we talk about her performance independent of the actual game.
Right.
Obviously you conflated what was happening at the time, like you got Desert Storm and all these things, but
Yeah.
we talk about even our most iconic performances. They can't overshadow the game because we don't talk about them in the same context, within the same lens. And we're also at just a point now with the way content is and the way, just overall discourse is, where we just conflate everything together. So like, as soon as Bad Bunny gets, named, like, we know that there's backlash right there before, months and months and months and months before the actual performance. So like, it's all that stuff, the divisiveness in the discourse is kind of hanging over the game as it's starting. And then you get a pretty, lifeless game in the first half. So that only ratchets it up more. So this is just where we are, in the way we discuss everything: sports, music, politics, whatever, movies, like you can't divorce those things from like some type of political affiliation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it feels like the Super Bowl has become more about our culture than ever before. Whereas, like, I feel like growing up and watching the Super Bowl, even maybe up till maybe 10 years ago, the game was about the game. Like it really was a sporting competition that now it's morphed into this like massive cultural event. I mean, it's always been a cultural event in a lot of ways, but like it's always been a very big day for commerce. It's a big day for, obviously the commercials. We'll talk about that in a second, but like now it's become this like next level. Like it's like the be all end all of like our culture. And again, how do you keep topping that? Where do you go with this? Like what's the next step in this game and in this this event? I'm interested to see what happens in the future. Um, talk about the commercials. Obviously, the halftime show definitely delivered. Tons of people watched it. Incredible performance. I mean, even the people who say they didn't like it or whatever, they still watched it. On the other hand, the commercials, and I mean, I feel like the commercials have kind of been, they have been great in a long, long time. But to me, this year, like we definitely saw the rise of like AI and how that's obviously going to how it's dominating our world now and what'll happen in the future. But the commercials, especially the ones that were centered around AI and these tech companies, I thought they were pretty lame, pretty unfunny, and just kind of bizarre. Like even the one like the Dunkin' Donuts commercial, I just don't even understand like what the idea was. Like I don't get it. So we'll start with that. So what'd you think about the commercials as a whole?
Um, I'm with you. I think that the commercials the commercials have kind of gone the way of everything in kind of corporate America where like
Yeah.
something works and we just oversaturate it. So I remember, Terry Tate. You're like Terry Tate,
Yeah.
offense linebacker. No one knew who Terry Tate was. You
Right.
know, he became like a mini celebrity because of the commercial, which we all love. And then they just kept going back to the well, like different variations of Terry Tate. From there, it went to like, oh well, having celebrities, a celebrity in a commercial that worked. Now we have nothing but celebrities, right? To the point where like, man, a lot of these companies, I read an article some years back where like a lot of these companies, so much of their yearly budget is planning for like what celebrities they're going to have in the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Like oftentimes these commercials don't even really tell us what they're selling.
Yeah.
Like they tell us the name, they tell us a brand, they give us a motto, a little jingle here and there, but like there's very often not enough correlation between the product and the ad. It's like
Right.
what is this thing supposed to do? And that's where I feel the most where things are just lost. Like you're not even telling me why I should buy the thing that you're selling.
Yeah.
Why I should go see it. You just slapping on some celebrities and then product placement, and now hey, we have an ad, and you're spending millions on that instead of like doing things that make customers want to buy it. Not like hey, we're going to buy it because it's popular, but like make me want to buy it. That's what commercials used to do.
Right.
So that's one thing. Just like the over saturation of like this thing worked, we're just gonna keep going back to the well over and over and over again. The second thing, like you mentioned, the AI, which again, how often does AI make things better? You're like that Dunkin' Donuts commercial was bad because we could tell in real time that this was AI. And like it looked bad, it sounded bad, like the feel of it, like this the human
Right.
element completely gone. Um, I don't I honestly we had these conversations about commercials every year in the Super Bowl. I pay less and less attention to these commercials every single year. Every once in a while there's one that kind of slips through the crack. It might go viral on Twitter, which is where I'll see it because I'm on my phone during commercial breaks because I'm just not expecting to see anything of substance. I
Yeah.
guess that's my overall point. Like we just reached a point where like substance is just kind of put onto the back burner, and it's about style, it's about easiness. Like what's easy?
Yeah.
It's easy to
Nope.
get Shaq and we just throw. I can't even remember who else was in that commercial, but like it was Shaq and some cologne. It's like okay, are you going to sell me on why this cologne is better than Polo, Chanel, Tom Ford? No, it's just say Shaq is spraying cologne and saying funny things, and that's it. So
Mhm. Yeah, I think Tristan there, you're back. I think you're back. Yeah, you're good.
okay. Sorry, same thing happened to you.
Okay.
Let's just get back to substance, man,
Yeah.
please. Like because they get worse every year. These commercials get worse every year.
Yeah, and to me, like, there's not even, like, any entertainment value with a lot of them, with almost all of them, honestly. Like, there was the one for Coinbase, which they just, like, played it was either a Backstreet Boys song or an NSYNC song, and they just it was like a lyric video
It's
where it showed
Backstreet
the
Boys.
yeah, Backstreet Boys, but then, like, it didn't even have, like, a they didn't even change the lyrics to make it rhyme with something about Coinbase, and it, like, it was so lazy, it just kinda ended, and they just go, "Coinbase," and I'm like, "What was that all?" I mean, it's like honestly, you couldn't have I don't think you could have made a lazier commercial than that one, where it's just like, you just put a song that everyone knows, and you just played the words from that song, and then you just said the name of your company. It was just like, I yeah, it was just really lazy. But, also, like, these commercials this year, I think they were going for $10 million for a 30-second ad, which to me, insane. Like, these commercials cost that much, and they're so poorly constructed, and also something about this year that kind of was a downer for me is that, we for weeks now, we've thought, "Okay, we're gonna get an Avengers Doomsday trailer at Super Bowl. We're gonna get a Spider-Man new Brand New Day trailer at the Super Bowl because the movie comes out this year." Both movies are coming out in 2026. We didn't get either one of them. Like, that was such a huge letdown. I mean, I knew that going in. I'd heard last week that we were gonna get these trailers, but to me, like, to not have there really wasn't even that big, like, as far as movies, like, there was a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, kinda like a commercial. There was a trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie that's coming out. I'm sure it's gonna do very well. But there wasn't even much in that area either, where usually, like, the biggest movies have a trailer. In that year this year, we really didn't have that.
I don't have a theory behind it.
Yeah.
I feel like it goes back to my first point. Is just like over. I'm gonna make up a word. Over celebritification of these ads.
Yeah.
It's like, what can we get? Like, do we get enough return on investment on a trailer?
Yeah.
We can give you trailers on Twitter. We can get
Yeah.
trailers on Instagram. Like, that's the new medium for like
Yeah.
those particular like ads. Like, those trailers are mostly going to be on social media now. Whereas
Right.
before, like you said, like Super Bowl was the time, right?
Right.
But again, we're also at a point where we don't have the same relationship towards like blockbuster films.
Yeah.
So like those things, those movies that tend to come out May, June, July, like we'll give you those trailers, we'll give you teaser to trailer,
Yeah.
to trailer two, around April, and then kind of build it up that way. Like, our attention spans don't last long enough
Yeah.
for you to give us a ad in February and expect that to keep us until June. That's just not where we're at anymore.
Yeah, no, you make a great point because obviously Marvel Studios didn't feel like it was worth the spend for them to put out. I mean, these are both these movies are gonna make a lot of money. Spider-Man: Brand New Day, Avengers: Doomsday, these are gonna be two of the biggest movies of the year, and they basically just skipped the Super Bowl because they thought, "Well, we don't really need the Super Bowl because we can make we can post these things on our social media platforms for free, basically, and we can make any day an event." Like, if we say, "Hey, March 11th is Avengers Doomsday Trailer Day," that's gonna be a huge day online for them. They're gonna make a ton of money on just posting the 30-second or minute or whatever it is, trailer. But to me, like, skipping the Super Bowl is like such a statement where it's like, it's this massive event, still the biggest event for our country, every year, like, TV wise. But obviously it wasn't important enough for some of these major movies to, like, use that as a spot to, like, advertise to all these, people who potentially they want to go see the movie.
Yeah, agreed,
Yeah.
man. And again, it just comes down to the fact that movie studios don't have enough confidence in their own customers to
Yeah.
give us those things. And like, no, man, they know we want to see celebrities. They want to see like the funny ad, the funny commercial. And Spider-Man just isn't giving us much funny. It's gonna give us, obviously it's
Yeah.
humor in the film, but like it's not giving us the thing that's going to go viral, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
trailers aren't good enough anymore to like for them to be like the topic of conversation. I feel like that's the primary thing that these brands, these studios, and everything they're going for.
Yeah.
It's not about, hey, get excited, Spider-Man's coming. It's just like they'd rather put Spider-Man in like a Toyota ad. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
and that's good enough.
Yeah. Well, like, there was some kind of obviously we're the watchers in the basement. We talk about a ton of superhero stuff. So I got to mention this. Robert Downey Jr. and his wife they posted the photo yesterday on social media where we're showing it now, where they're wearing Doomsday Super Bowl jerseys, which I think is kind of strange because there wasn't a trailer for the movie. But that's the trailer, I guess. Yeah, so get your Doomsday Super Bowl Marvel jersey. Very very strange. Like maybe it's like a viral or like a guerrilla marketing or something. Like we're gonna market around the Super Bowl, but not actually during the game. I'm not really sure, but very interesting to see that come out yesterday. I saw that on a couple of different places. And then of course the movie. I'm watching the clock all the time. We're 10 months away from Doomsday. Can't wait. This is a live stream on Marvel has had this up for a month and a half now, and I guess they're gonna go the entire year. Tristan, I was talking to Frank about this last week. We're talking because we're doing the Wonder Man show, and I was telling Frank, I was like, I can't wait for Doomsday. It's my number one movie of the year. It's really the number one movie for the last couple of years. I've been looking forward to this movie, but almost as much as interested in the movie as I am, I'm honestly really interested to see when this live stream ends.
Mhm.
What's going to be the view count you think for this live stream? To do a live stream for 11 plus months, like on a platform, like they have, 20 million subscribers, and you're going to have it live for almost a full year. Like, I can't wait to see what that number is. It's got to be like a crazy number.
It's going to be in the billions.
I think so. I think it'll be like maybe 2 billion or something. I'm not sure. But I can't wait till till the movie's here so I can see what the countdown reveals, because that's just like that's a crazy marketing idea too. Like they're just going to promote it all year long and skip the Super Bowl. So
this is such a millennial thing to like watch it. This is not the way of the world anymore.
No, yeah,
remarkably millennial.
Yeah.
Like look forward to things 10 months in advance. That's millennial. Will we even have a country in 10 months?
That would be the real doomsday clock right there. That's the doomsday clock that really matters. But I guess we'll wait and see about that too. I just hope we can watch the movie. As long as we can get to the movie, if we make it to 2020, if we make it to the end of 2026, I'll be happy. After that, who knows what's going to happen anyway. So anyway, anything else you want to talk about from the Super Bowl?
There's between the game, the halftime show, and the ads, there's nothing else.
Yeah, I think we covered it.
Yeah, man. I think that's about it.
Yeah. So that about does it for us this season. This is another season of Watchers Football. We appreciate everybody who joined us along the way. Either if you joined us in the live chat like tonight, we had Carol YNDJ. That's a new name. Appreciate you joining us. And for all the people who joined us, throughout the year, watching it later on YouTube, we appreciate it. As always, please like and subscribe. That always helps us out. Leave us a comment. We'll check it out. We'll get back to you on that. Also, we're on audio platforms, so please check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you're on those platforms, be sure to give us a 5-star review, because that really helps us out also. So be sure to do that. And so another good season of Talking Football. We'll be back next year at some point to kick off the 2026 season. But that about does it for 2025 for us. Of course, we've got a lot more coming up. We've got a lot of shows, a lot of movies, so much more to talk about. Maybe the next thing we're going to do, it's a big thing, is probably Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We're going to do a season wrap on that show. So you might be able to see Tristan join us for that. We'll do that in a few weeks. Actually, 2 weeks from today is when we'll do that show. So looking forward to that. That's a great show. If you're not watching that show, definitely jump in on Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's a smaller scale Game of Thrones show, but really good stuff. And we're 4 episodes in. We got 2 more to go. So I'm interested to see how it pans out for the first season. But we got a ton more coming. Obviously, we'll be talking about Doomsday. Whenever there is a trailer for Doomsday and for Spider-Man, we're going to talk about that stuff, of course. And there's so many other shows we'll be getting to in the next few months. So stick with us. Be sure to subscribe. And again, we appreciate everybody who joined us this season. It's been fun talking about the NFL. college football some too. So for Tristan and for Frank, who wasn't able to join us tonight, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.